I'm going to say it right now. You ride him. He's your number one. No
No,
more
for
1A,
sure.
1B. He gets 60-40 until he's proven otherwise. What's up, and welcome to the Crude Oil Podcast, a weekly uncensored Edmonton Oilers podcast with your hosts, Sean and Greg. What's up, and welcome back to the Crude Oil Podcast. It is episode number 23, the Corey Cross episode.
Really? Corey Cross is who you're going to choose off this list?
Yeah, that's the name that jumped out to me.
I would go with Matt Hendricks, probably, or Dick Tarnstrom.
Why do I feel like Matt Hendricks wore 16?
He might have at one point, but according to what I'm looking at right now, he wore 23 from 2014 to 2017.
Well, Sean, we have that information. We were just looking at... no, he didn't wear 16. That's just... I'm thinking of Darcy Hordachuk. We were looking and I saw Ryan Spooner. At what stage was the Ryan Spooner trade? Like, from the whole Eberle, like, complete collapse?
Well, it was Eberle for Strome, then Strome for Spooner.
Oh, my God. Yeah. What did we end up getting out of that? Nothing?
I believe nothing, because Spooner just ended up leaving. And he doesn't even play in the NHL anymore.
That was just...
I just remember that all started from the Chris Pronger trade originally. Because that's where we got that draft pick, is when we traded him away.
Man, those Steve Dangle videos, like, I could sit and watch those for days.
Oh,
like,
I love trade tree videos.
Oh, they're amazing. Yeah, welcome back. How's your weekend?
It was another good weekend. Better weather, that's for sure.
No kidding. Nice not to be, like, frozen in your house. Yeah, and a lot of hockey. We had 4 games to recap. Edmonton finishes up an Eastern swing with a 2-2 record. Considering the teams... I'll take it.
If you told me at the beginning of this road trip that we would come away with 2-2 against the 4 teams that we played against, I'd be pretty content with that.
That's fair.
If it was a homestand, I think 3-1 would have been my preference, but I can't argue with 2-2.
Yeah, it didn't start out great because I know we recorded the night Washington was going on, and I mean, really the story to that game, and we're gonna get into it, is the PK and the lack thereof it.
Yeah, essentially, if Edmonton had even a league average penalty kill, then they would have been fine, considering they had a 20% PK rate in that game.
Brutal. You cannot give up 4 power play goals in a game.
You can't give up that many goals, period, honestly.
Yeah, so we'll dive in, we'll cover the games, and then look at what's up and coming for the orange and blue, but starting in Washington. I know... The last thing that I saw before I came down to record was the Sonny Milano thought he scored goal.
Yeah, the double crossbar hit that somehow bounced off the middle of the crossbar and the middle of the crossbar and out. My brain can't comprehend how that worked.
Yeah, that's
like
wild.
I passed physics class in high school, but clearly I don't understand physics.
Yeah, so I already thought they were going to be down 1-0 right off the hop, but not the case. It was just a couple minutes later. Dylan Strome, a collapse by Edmonton. Like, it's just the same old story, though. Giving up the first goal on the road.
I mean, to be fair, that one, like, we're going to talk more positively about Foegele eventually, but that one was 100% on Foegele.
Yeah.
Just completely having a brain fart moment and just shitting the bed.
I wonder if that was his watershed moment, because I don't think he played a bad minute after that.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think he really battened down the hatches and kind of figured out what he needed to do after that. Just kind of went into the locker room, stared himself in the mirror, and gave himself a pep talk after during the intermission, maybe. That was
as ugly of a turnover as you can have, especially in your own end. And anyways, I digress. Heading into the second, like, just a flurry of goals. Like, starts right off the hop with Dylan Strome again. So I don't know if you've noticed this year, but I feel like when we get scored on by teams, we get scored on in bunches. Like, we've got to be leading the leagues in, like, hat tricks against.
Well, it's almost similar to Edmonton last year in the sense that when, say, for example, we score a goal, we usually get scored on in the next 30 seconds or something like that. And it's just the team seems to get caught up in the moments of whether it's a goal against or a goal for, and they don't bring themselves back to the here and now.
Right.
And, I don't know, focus on the play at hand.
Yep. I wanted to touch on this McDavid goal because he scored one in Washington and then one later in Carolina where he just absolutely walked everybody in the zone. Like,
I don't even know what to say about it. It's just like, it's classic McDavid at this point, and every time he does it, you're like, if he can do that, why doesn't he do that every game?
No kidding. Like, I don't know. He's got something different this year, and it's scary to think that, like, he's getting better.
Yeah, I would say he's at probably the middle of his prime right now, and he could still improve for the next 3 years before you potentially would see some sort of fall off. Not that I think his type of game would have a significant fall off, but yeah, he's only going to get better, and he's improving, especially with his shooting.
And thinking of his counterpart in this game, like looking at Ovechkin, like how he seems to still be like at his A game at what, 30, 38? He's getting up there.
Oh yeah, and Ovechkin, he can just shoot and score from anywhere.
That's true. So McDavid cuts the lead in half down 2-1. And then you kind of see rapid fire there within a span of about 2 minutes, 3 goals, one from Kuznetsov, the answer from Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, and then Alex Ovechkin on the power play, just the third of the game at that point, and you're halfway through.
Well, and it's important to note, like, the Kuznetsov one was on a 5-on-3, and if I'm not mistaken, I might be misremembering this as one of the other games, but was that the one where Derek Ryan, like, accidentally batted the puck out of the air, and it went straight out of the... like over the glass?
Yeah.
Kind of like more of a freak accident kind of moment than anything else.
Yeah.
So like it would have been nice to see them kill that off, but once again, it's a 5-on-3, and these cross seam passes on the power play seem to be killing Edmonton.
I agree. It feels like there's a gaping hole there. The only good thing out of that goal from Kuznetsov is it came on the back half of a 5-on-3, so I think the penalty had just ended.
Yeah, it was like immediately afterwards. I think he stepped on the ice and they immediately scored, so it went straight back to even strength.
Yeah.
And then that Hyman and Nuge goal, essentially, when Nuge batted it out of the air. I've never seen Hyman try to skate so fast and see somebody move so slowly at the same time. I was watching that, and like I know he's got lots of hustle and he's a great player, but he probably, to get to that puck, racing Ovi for it, he probably took like 1,000 strides in like 2 seconds. I don't know what was going on there, but he just couldn't seem to get any grip on the ice. But it worked out. He ended up getting to the puck before Ovi outworked him for it, and then threw the puck across, and it's 2 feet off the ice, and Nuge still finds a way to bat it out of the air.
It's so funny because some players make it look so effortless when they're skating, like I think a Cale Makar. Hyman earns every single one of those strides.
Oh, yes. I was exhausted watching his legs move. I was laughing as he was skating up to the puck, and then he won the puck, and it went from laughing to excitement immediately, but it was just hilarious to watch.
Too funny. So Ovechkin adds to the lead. Again, like I had mentioned, the third power play goal of the game at that point, and the Oilers kind of find themselves down. I think it was 4-2 at that point heading into the third. I didn't really know what to expect. Like, it just kind of felt like one of those games watching back. Like, you can kind of see it. Like, they're making pushes. But I thought this was one of the better games that the Oilers have lost.
I would say it's up there with, like, maybe the New Jersey game as one of those games where you're like, yeah, they lost, but they still played pretty well.
Yeah. Like, you got to wonder, you take away those 5 penalties, and I'm not saying that they deserve to win the game at all, but you take away those 5 penalties, what's the realistic score of it? Like,
I mean, even taking away, they don't even need to take away the penalties. They just need to have, like I said, like a semi-competent power play. Like, let's just say they were 2 for 5 instead of 4 for 5 on the power play, Washington.
Yeah.
So that minuses 2 goals off there, we win 4-3. And let's just say it's 3-3 because we don't get that goal with Rada Skinner was heading to the bench from Nuge to bring them in within 1.
Well, I know I harp on the kind of puck changes and stuff like that, but the Oilers only gave up 7 pucks in that game. Like, that's a pretty good stat for Edmonton's stat line. But
yeah, this was 100% just purely special teams again. Like a game they lost only because their special teams were terrible. And honestly, part of the problem is Edmonton is just taking disgustingly bad penalties. Whether they're offensive zone penalties, they're cross-checking penalties, they're high-sticking penalties when they just don't have any stick discipline. Like, I don't know what they need to do to figure it out, but they just need to stop.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, I don't know if the refs are fucking them over. I'm not going to go that far because it happens to every team, and it's kind of an up and down cycle throughout the season. But at this point, Edmonton has to at least feel that like the refs are looking for that shit on them, so they need to clean it up, especially the cross-checks. To me, there's no excuse for the cross-checking penalties.
Yeah, I'd agree. Like, Edmonton is missing a lack of... No, they have a lack of discipline. What they're lacking is discipline. It's just, like you had mentioned, dumb penalties. And obviously, when you can't kill them off, anyways, Draisaitl, Kuznetsov with another power play goal, and then the Oilers make a late push in the game. I think Nuge scored with 66 seconds left, something like that.
Yeah, it was like, I think there was 103 on the clock or something. I remember looking at the score when I was making my notes.
It felt like there was a generous amount of time, and I think they made a good push. Like, a couple bounces here, maybe you tie the game. But ultimately, the Oilers lose 5-4 to Washington. If I was to be completely honest, looking at the two games, those back-to-backs, like, this is the game that I felt you needed to win.
Yeah, based off the teams that they were playing, like considering they had Tampa the next night, I was expecting them to beat Washington. They started I would say their better goalie right now in Skinner. And to be fair, outside of maybe the Ovi goal and the Strome goal, like the first one that he scored, Skinner didn't have much of a chance on any of those goals. You would have liked to see him make one of those saves, but with all the power plays and stuff, I don't think it would have made much of a difference.
Yeah, that was going to be my only thought is, like, Skinner played okay. They didn't lose because of him.
Well, he can't win us every game every night like he's going to be doing later in this recap. But, he put up, I think, a pretty, mid-performance, which is fine. You should be able to put up a mid-performance every now and then. Like, Edmonton still scored 4 goals. Like, they should be able to win those games, but unfortunately, they just didn't have it on defense tonight at all.
It's funny, at one point, I think it's when we finished and I went upstairs and I flipped on the TV. It was before Washington scored that last goal, that Kuznetsov goal.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing them on the PK. Obviously, I didn't look at the time, and I just saw that they're on the penalty kill. And they get caught up ice with, 3 guys up ice, and he goes on a break. I'm like, why the fuck? Oh, yeah, there's a minute left. We need to tie this game. 2 minutes left.
I think that's part of how Edmonton kills penalties, too.
Oh.
It's the power kill, like we've talked about before. And that's a pretty good segue into the Tampa Edmonton game, because they come out, they're on the penalty kill early, create a turnover, and score a shorthanded goal.
Yeah, Warren Fogle, too.
Oh, yeah. And you could see the energy in him when he scored that goal. That felt like a huge monkey off his back for sure.
Yeah. It was nice to see. I love him on the penalty kill. I think it's a good spot for him.
Well, I think it was Gregor harping about that in the offseason, that Fogle needed a bigger role in the team and that he killed penalties in Carolina. And everybody was kind of, he was questioning at least why he's not killing penalties in Edmonton. He's playing in the bottom 6. He wants more ice time. That's the best way to do it. Yep. So it's nice to see him getting a chance, especially with some of the injuries on Edmonton. Mm-hmm. Going forward, at least, he's going to have more and more time on that. So
my thoughts around it, too, is I wonder if they're the cast and crew of the penalty kill is too big.
I feel like it's getting to that point because I've seen Kane and McDavid out there a few times. I know Yamamoto and Nuge and Hyman and Draisaitl and Ryan and Shore, they all kill penalties.
Yeah.
Maybe they do need to narrow it down a little bit to maybe a group of 4 to 6 with your primary 4 who go back and forth unless somebody gets caught on a shift for too long and is too tired to go out, and then you switch to that third group.
Yeah.
Instead of the seemingly endless amount of players they throw out there.
Yeah, it's like a swinging door. I don't know. I think you just need to build some chemistry with some guys, and I don't know.
Well, they try to do the pairings like McDavid and Kane, for example, when they're out there. And then I think Nuge and Hyman are a general grouping that they try to do. And then I guess, and McLeod.
McLeod and Hyman, I've seen.
McLeod and Yamamoto, I think, are usually another combo. Those are the main ones. And then I guess Shore and Ryan.
Yeah.
But yeah, they need to do something. I don't know what it is, but.
Yeah. So a good start to Tampa. That was a great segue. And then Hagel with the goal to tie things up kind of 2 minutes later. So I knew it was going to be a dogfight this game. Little did I know how much of a push Edmonton would have. But let's get into it because we need to talk about it. Let's talk about the Kane injury because I can't watch it.
I've watched it probably like 30 or 40 times.
Holy shit.
I don't have any problem with it. I'm
really?
not, like, squeamish or anything like that.
Oh.
Like, I watched it, and I know I immediately went and, like, Googled Clint Malarchuk to go watch that one again to see, like...
You watched that shit?
Oh, yeah, because I wanted to see the comparison between the two.
Oh, my God. Like, every single time, like, I see that, or, like, as soon as, like, they said... Like, I saw him carrying his elbow, and I was watching this on the bike, like... As soon as they said, oh, his wrist is cut, like, my butthole puckers up. Like, I cannot do it. Like, ugh.
Yeah, like, I could say that without having been there in person or whatever,
right.
But it tends not to bother me too much.
Yeah.
But with that being said, like, that was incredibly scary.
Yeah.
And, like, I was more concerned when they didn't immediately blow down the play that, like, something bad was going to happen because they didn't, like, take that precautionary measure to, like, get everybody to stop what they're doing, make sure the trainers can get on the ice. But Kane had the wherewithal to immediately skate off and just fly down the tunnel. Like, really, like, kudos to him for, like, being able to, like, notice the panic of the situation and have to, like, I don't know, react instead of just laying there and bleeding out on the ice, essentially, right?
No shit.
So,
immediately, like, I was at the gym watching the game, and I was like, I'm going home. I can't watch this game. I'm like, shake. I don't know why the hell I've got such a squeamish thing when it comes to
a lot of people have that, though. I was
That's
talking to, like, one of my friends afterwards, and he said he's watching it with his brother, and his brother gets, like, fainty from blood.
My God, yeah.
And he said, like, when the injury happened, his brother sat down on the floor because he knew it was coming and just out.
That's too funny.
And it just made me laugh. And then I sent him like the link to the video afterwards, and it has like a little preview picture, and it was a picture of like Kane holding his arm and like some blood on the ice.
Oh my God!
Apparently his brother saw that too and passed out again.
Yeah. I immediately after I saw it, I texted a PT of mine, a buddy who is a PT. Let's say it that way. And he's seen some nasty like injuries on the ice, and I was like, is he gonna be? He's like, oh yeah, he's fine. I was like, how do those people do that? I have no idea. Kudos to the first responders and the medical professionals because there's no fucking way.
I don't think there was immediate danger of him like dying, but I think the more concern was like nerve damage and that it will impact his career and he might never be able to play to the same level again, kind of thing.
Well, and that was the thing that ultimately, I'm jumping ahead here, but ultimately that I think he was grateful for is he's like, I'm clenching my fist as I'm like skating to the bench, so I knew I still had like
it's not like his fingers were just limp and he wasn't able to move his hand. So like I don't know obviously the actual damage that was done to him, but from the sounds of it, it seems as though he's going to be okay. I think like they've now put him on LTIR. They say 3 to 4 months for his recovery, which is still a very long time, but I think he's going to be back this year, and I don't think there's going to be any negative impact on his play outside of conditioning things because he hasn't played for 3 to 4 months. Right.
It'll be interesting to see if Oilers go full Kucherov on this situation.
Well, what is 3 to 4 months from now? That's only like February to March. It's not going to be the playoffs unless they find a way to push it. So
as a setback, maybe. I don't know.
It could be something like that. And I don't know if we want to make an all-in push. That'd be the way to do it. Use Kane's money to get a Chychrun or something like that. I was just going to say. And go from there. But anyway, I think that's probably all we really have to say about the Kane injury.
Well, what about the slew foot?
Oh, the slew foot itself that led to the play?
Yeah.
Obviously, if they would have called it, it would have been fine. And there's been a couple plays like that. If they call the original hit, then there wouldn't be a retaliation or this post scuffle that resulted in this in the first place.
Yeah, that's true. It's true.
You have to be paying attention and make sure you know what's going on. And there was an incident I think it was almost an incident in what game was it? The Florida game I watched. There was a replay on one of Sam Bennett's goals where he came cutting across and beat Skinner by reaching around him and going around him. But then when he tripped going across, his skate went up and Kulak was right there, and his skate like slapped him across the face.
Yeah.
And his blade was right here.
Oh.
And I didn't notice that at the time, but then when I was watching the replay, like I just had flashes of, because I was watching the Clint Malarchuk thing, that's all I could think about.
Oh my god. Anyways, let's move on. Heading into the second, the Oilers lit a fire to start it off. It was, I know you've referred to it before, but there's some periods where you just know that the Oilers are going to dominate, and it started in the second.
Yeah, I wonder what Woodcroft says to them in the room, or maybe if the players take it to themselves to say that, because there was a few rough starts in this road trip, and when they came out in the second, they kind of found their feet and figured it out.
Yeah, granted 2 power play goals, but one from McDavid, one from Draisaitl, but Edmonton kind of controlled the play of the second, and for the most part, the rest of the game. I know the Lightning had some pushes towards the end of the game. They're a veteran team. Like they're how many years out from winning the Stanley Cup? 2 after back-to-back Stanley Cup championships. Like it's still a really tough team, and I think Edmonton competed very well. Like it was a good test of their mettle, I think.
Yeah, it really was. And one of the most important things I want to note, because I just complained about it last game, is that they were perfect on the penalty kill.
Yeah.
So first steps, baby. That's where you got to start.
It was such an amazing response from the last game. The one thing that I have to fucking spend some time on, because it's driving me nuts, is there has to be some accountability for the reffing that's going on in this game. And by game, I mean the entire NHL. I don't know. You never hear it because it's never publicized, but you never know if someone's being asked. But the fucking linesman crew in this game were horrific.
Was this the game where they missed the icing on
There's
the Barry?
2 separate incidences. Yeah. Incidents? I can't use Incidents. Yeah, the one where Tyson Barrie lost his footing, went feet first in the boards, and then it happened in the next period.
Yeah, giving us shades of Taylor Fadoon on that one.
Taylor
Fadoon, terrifying to watch.
Yeah, wasn't it Foster? Foster also had a broken leg, same play.
Oh, I don't even know. I just remember the Taylor Fadoon one so clearly.
But
yeah, that kind of shit's terrifying, and that's literally the whole point of them calling it at the hash marks.
Exactly.
And if you watch that replay, it might be close, but Barry's still ahead of him by a foot.
Yeah.
And I'd say the tie goes to the defender on an icing play like that, so you blow that down every day.
Yeah.
The amount of times I see an offensive player flying down the wing or whatever on an icing play, and it gets called, and they're mad, so what? At least nobody broke a fucking leg.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's the only thing I had from the Tampa game. I thought Edmonton played very sound.
Yeah, honestly, it was overall just a really good game from Edmonton. Realistically, they should have won by 4-2 because of that Hyman kick-in goal that, it was a kicking motion, but I don't think he was actually trying to kick it.
Yeah.
So, it was non-intentional kicking. But I feel like as an Edmonton fan, we're not allowed to say anything about kick-ins because then Calgary fans might kind of burn our houses down if we try to say anything about that. But and then Ryan Murray also keeping that game and maintaining the lead by knocking that puck off the line.
Vezina winner.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was insane. I forgot about that entirely.
And once again, we talk shit about Campbell and the defense a lot, but they had a pretty solid game overall in this one. If you're able to keep the Tampa Bay Lightning down to 2 goals, it's hard to say anything bad about the defense on that.
That's a .946 save percentage for him, that game. That's a solid performance. Unfortunately, that would be the last time that we'll say that about Campbell this week because we'll get into it. Moving on to the game we really don't want to talk about, the Carolina Hurricanes on Thursday.
Listen, I only half kind of watched this game in terms of when I was watching, and then I also didn't watch the third period because I had to leave and do something.
Well, so this game had smells of... I don't know. You ever turn on a game and you watch, you can tell within the first 5 minutes whether or not, they're going to compete or... I knew right off the hop that the Oilers, they just didn't have it. And I don't know how you quantify it.
That's why I really had no trouble with like not watching the third period, for example, because like I left at the end of the second, and that's
4-1.
right when Carolina had scored that fourth goal.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I'm fine with leaving. Like I recorded it, and then I saw the score afterwards, and it's like that's not worth watching the rest of that game, honestly.
Yeah.
So I didn't even bother. So realistically, the only thing I have to say is like Andrei Svechnikov is fucking terrifying.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Like,
twice now. Like, he's got Campbell looking at his glove like, what the fuck?
Yeah. And, like, Campbell needs to figure something out with that glove. Because if that's happening twice, and it almost feels like, I don't want to say he is, but it feels like he's making an excuse when he looks at his glove to be like, oh, it's the glove's fault. That's why I didn't save it. And it's like, maybe you should do some, like, wrist exercises, strengthen that wrist up a little bit. If, like, all these shots are making your wrist bend so far back that they're, like, the glove can't catch it properly.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he needs to switch to, like, a baseball glove for a little bit and just...
something more stiff or something like that. I don't know.
I don't know if, like, his hand-eye's off a little bit, which is a scary thing to think that a goalie has off, but... I don't know. You
could beat Darcy Kemper and only be able to see out of one eye and still win the Stanley Cup. So I don't know if that's much of an excuse.
Excuses. I had a couple things. The first one being like the Oilers. That is such a tough break, giving up a goal with 20 seconds left in the period. They came so close to scoring, and then Svechnikov like beating Campbell with the It was going in anyways, and Tyson Barrie, dived to break it. It was a goal, and I was okay with seeing the effort from Barrie there. The other thing wanted to point out is Connor McDavid again. Like, that was a disgusting goal that he scored in the third period.
There was only one thing he was thinking during that moment, and that was, I have to maintain my goal per game pace.
Let's pad the stats, baby. A nifty little goal there from Jordan Martinook. He was falling down on the ice, propped the puck up, and batted it out of midair. That was interesting. And then, obviously, the most disgusting giveaway from Campbell. Like, that's
the only play I saw from the third period was that giveaway.
That's shades of, like, Tommy Salo at the Olympics in 2002. Like, just that kind of, like, what the fuck are we doing?
We can just take solace in the fact that the game was already over.
Yeah.
And maybe Campbell knew it and just said, fuck it.
Yeah. I think it's a telling point in time when you're down, 6-2 at that point. You give up that, and you just saw his reaction. Like, this is a broken man right now.
I don't know what's going on with him. Like, I didn't expect him to be like a Vezina candidate for us, but I expected him to be better than he has been. Like, it's kind of embarrassing.
I saw a stat on Twitter that said that basically looked at Jack Campbell's record since January 1st, and his career his save percentage since January 1st is like .846.
Yeah, there's something going on there.
So, I don't know. Like, I don't know if you heard Gretzky's interview on Saturday when they're talking to him and they're asking him about like what's going on. He's like, the one thing that people don't realize is when you do move to a new city, like, you're getting adjusted to the people, the team, like the way the team plays. So it's a lot. I'm just hoping it's an adjustment period, because 5 years at what, five?
It's just $5 million, I think.
Yeah, like, that's a tough contract to deal with.
I think he'll figure it out eventually.
Yeah.
And bounce back, and I don't know what his save percentage is this season. Let's just say it's like an 890 or something like that, or 880.
Yeah.
But I think he'll bounce back to like a 9 to 905, somewhere in that range. He'll have some good games throughout the year and be able to bounce back. And ultimately, this is just opening the door wider and wider and wider for Skinner every day.
Yeah.
That these games keep happening. And to be fair, like, I don't know if there's anything else you want to talk about in this game, or we can just segue, speaking of Skinner.
Fucking move on, yeah. That's
right into the Florida game.
Just one note you're asking there. Campbell's stats this season: 4.27 goals against average and an .873 save percentage.
Yeah, I expect him to be closer to 9 on that save percentage, and to be closer to, at this point, probably like 3.5 for that goals against average.
Yeah.
So that's at least my expectation.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then Campbell, hopefully he gets the time to figure it out, especially with maybe more of a homestand. We have a big break between games right now, for example, where we have Sunday, Monday, Tuesday off. hopefully he can catch a breather and figure some things out.
Yeah, he's just one of those guys that you want so badly to succeed. Anyways, let's move to Florida.
So Florida, this was quite possibly the worst 10 minutes of hockey by Edmonton I've ever seen in my life to start this game.
I came very close to being like, nah, fuck this.
I was sitting there and could not handle what was happening mentally. I was starting to check out a little bit because I know Edmonton took a couple penalties early on. So let's just say that half of those shots were because of that. But still, not getting a shot until the 10-minute mark.
Yeah.
And I know the Nuge post was at 11:30, but said before, post is not a shot.
That's right.
If it was a shot, it would have went in.
That's right.
So just hit the net next time. But yeah, they need to figure out these slow starts. I don't know what it is.
Killing them.
To be fair, it's your worst nightmare, the old 2 p.m. matinee game. And I definitely hit my mic stand there, so sorry if that made some noise. But yeah, they need to wake up. They have a game at 11 a.m. in a couple weeks. They need to make sure they're awake for that shit.
The only thing that I was hoping going into this game is they're playing on the East Coast, so it's at least 4 o'clock. You hope that the legs are awake at that point. But I mean, yeah, you're right. You can't go. What was it at? Was it 10-0, 11-0 in shots?
It was 11-0 before Edmonton got a shot.
It was a tough start. But like you had mentioned, the only good thing is that they made it out with no goals against in the first period, which was just shocker.
Yeah, you can thank Stu for that.
Yeah. Yeah.
He made some 10-bell saves that period. Just absolutely stood on his head. The only reason this was a tie game outside of Spencer Knight making a huge save on Draisaitl on the other side.
That was a ridiculous save.
Draisaitl doesn't miss from there very often, and to be fair, he didn't. Knight was just there.
Yeah, that was a hell of a save. Yeah, Stuart Skinner, I'm going to say it right now. You ride him. He's your number one. No more 1A, sure. 1B. He gets 60-40 until he's proven otherwise.
Yeah, I would say so. For example, just looking at the schedule, we have a game Wednesday, Saturday, Monday, Wednesday, Saturday. I don't see why Skinner wouldn't start all of those games.
Yeah,
honestly, except for maybe one of them if you want to be generous to oh geez, my brain. Campbell.
Yeah.
Geez, I just had a brain fart moment. But yeah, I don't see why not. But I have a question for you before we get into the rest of this game. With Kane out,
yeah,
and prior to this game, I also wanted to ask you, how did Yamamoto get hurt?
I missed that too.
I missed that. I don't really know what happened, but he's not playing in this game. But I believe he's supposed to be coming back from some of the reports I was reading. But anyways, the question was, with those guys out, who did you think on Edmonton was going to step up? Was it going to be
Costin,
Fogle?
baby. Klim Kostin. I fucking love that guy. I could see him slotting up on that top line with Connor McDavid.
You want to go that far?
Not right now, but I can see him jumping up. But the one thing that I was actually really happy with was Warren Fogel's play. I'm glad that in the blender that got thrown together, that Woodcroft gave him a shot on that second line.
Well, I don't see why he wouldn't, because to be fair, I'll sit here and love Holloway all day, but he has not really been showing for some reason, he hasn't shown to be effective in that top 6.
Yeah.
Maybe it's because of the quality of competition up there. He's just not ready for it. But whenever he's up there, he just seems to struggle.
Yeah.
Compared to when he's in the bottom 6 or even the fourth line playing with those other guys, he just hasn't shined as much, I guess.
Who's your pick for that?
Well, I could sure as shit say that it wasn't Tyson Barrie. Which is what I was trying to segue into.
Yeah.
Because Tyson Barrie just popped off in this game.
Yep. Yeah. He's been getting better and better, and I think he's low-key becoming Tyson Barrie of old. And it's really nice to see. Did not have 2 bingos on the day for him in my head heading into this.
So it starts with the first goal, where Barrie just sent a blast from the point. It was all from great pressure from the fourth line, just cycling it down low. And a screen from your new best friend, Klim Kostin.
I love him, man. I think he's going to be a force for this team.
Do you just like him because he's big?
I think he's big. He's a power forward. We haven't had one of those in a while.
That's true. We just have Kane essentially, and and to be fair, Puljujarvi has been playing extremely physically lately.
Yeah. I have no complaints with Puljujarvi's game right now. I know a lot of people are trying to attach his like goals and assist stats to his play, but I don't think it says all of the intangibles that he's providing for the team right now.
Well, it's the same old with Puljujarvi. Is like his intangibles are great, his like advanced stats are great. But with that being said, if you are playing with McDavid, you have to also be putting up some numbers.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not gonna disagree there. And the turnovers, like.
Well, I'm assuming that's the only reason why you're talking about putting Klim Kostin up there potentially is because you haven't been impressed with the offensive side of Puljujarvi's game.
Yeah. But yeah, I think you're right. Tyson Barrie just played an unreal game. Sam Bennett scoring in the third period. Like, do all of the ex-Flames just love to light us? Well, I guess not, because Tkachuk didn't score, but I just feel like every time we play Sam Bennett, like he'll get one or two on us.
Yeah, Sam Bennett just, for some reason, he really likes playing against the Oilers. It's like the Svechnikov syndrome.
Yeah.
You just love to do it. But yeah, he had a good game for Florida, to be fair. I thought he was very noticeable out there.
Yeah. Tyson Barrie gets the 2-1 goal. I maybe the funniest segue. It reminded me of the that baseball announcer that was like saying sorry, and then that's a deep drive to left field. Like when they're telling the story on Sportsnet of that couple that was getting engaged.
Yeah, like literally had to cut it in the middle of it to show Barrie scoring.
Oh, that was so funny.
That threw me for a loop. I was just like, we scored again. We scored.
But what a rocket too. Like you don't see Tyson Barrie wind up for many clappers. That was nice to see.
He has a nice shot when they give him the chance to actually shoot. I feel like on the power play, for example, he feels the urge to always like give it to McDavid and Draisaitl and not think too much about taking the shot. Meanwhile, like you put Bouchard on that first power play and he won't stop shooting the puck. But it's nice to see him actually having the confidence to take the shot, knowing that he seems to at least be confident enough that he can beat the goalie.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Followed up by another goal from Warren Foegele, so that's two in a span of as many games. Well, no, it's 2 goals in 3 games, I guess. But still, it's nice to see him get rewarded again. He's busting his ass. Like, he had a hell of a week, minus the Washington game, I guess.
He's playing great away from the puck, too. Like, in this instant, he created the turnover where the puck ended up on Draisaitl's stick with the nifty little behind-the-back no-look pass right onto Fogel's tape, and he just rips it right by Knight. Knight had no clue what had just happened.
Yeah, it was... so that made it 3-1 at the time. Sam Bennett gets that late goal. I was strapped in there with like 3 minutes left, and this is going to be the longest 3 minutes I've ever watched.
Yeah.
But I was very grateful that Ryan Nugent-Hopkins made me relax a little bit.
Yeah. Just quickly on that second Florida goal, I just wanted to mention, because we were pumping Barry's tires, we should also say, like, in that moment, it was a 3-on-3, and Bennett passed it to the point, to the third man back, and both Puljujarvi and Barrie, like, I watched it in synchronized form. They both turned to the guy with the puck and let Sam Bennett just crash the net for free.
Okay, I saw that too.
That was a huge miscommunication by both of them to know who was supposed to take the man. I think Puljujarvi had Bennett, and as the forward back, his mind was like, okay, well, now I go to the guy who's at the point, the third man. Meanwhile, Barrie was like, okay, this is my man with the puck.
Right.
So I'm assuming that's where the miscommunication came from, but you can't be doing that kind of stuff, because that really hung out Skinner to dry on that play, and almost ended up, like I said, with Kulak getting a skate to the face.
Yes, we dodged a bullet there. That wraps up the game in Florida. Again, shout out to Stuart Skinner. 42 shots on goal, and he stopped 40 of them. Like, that was a 10-bell game for him.
Yeah, and he continues to put up these games where I think it's safe to say he stole the game.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I would definitely agree.
And I think we've talked about this in the past, too, is when's the last time we had a goalie who can steal games? Usually where it's like when Campbell's been in net, or last season when Koskinen and Mike Smith were in the net. Generally speaking, we were always fighting in every single game and never had that comfort of knowing, like, our goalie's going to make that next big save and not flub some random garbage shot.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great point. It's kind of reassuring. We haven't felt that in a while. Yeah, moving on to some other news we touched on. Kane gone for 3 to 4 months, so it should be intriguing just to see what the Oilers do in that role. I know they've bumped up Costin and Janmark.
Janmark's looked pretty solid on that fourth line.
Yeah, no complaints.
It seems like he has decent chemistry, at least with Ryan. So I'd like to see them keep working on that. But in terms of Kane's position, it's just going to be a rotating carousel of essentially the top 6 is going to be like McDavid, Draisaitl, Nuge, Hyman, me, and everybody else is going to be rotating through there. Like Puljujarvi, Yamamoto, Fogle, Holloway. You might see, like you mentioned, Costin up there for whether it's a couple shifts or a couple games, who knows.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised to see Devon Shore maybe slide in a couple times just because they want to not punish people for not playing well on those top lines, but give other people a chance to put some things up. It'll be like the classic Archibald on McDavid's wing moment.
Solution.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. And maybe we look at making a move for a top 9 forward because with Kane out, it kind of leaves a big hole in our lineup.
Yeah. Yeah, it'll be intriguing anyways. I almost wonder too if you use that cap room to solidify your D a little bit.
Well, I would look at defense before I look at a forward, to be fair.
Yeah.
Because we need to clean that up. But, ultimately, I think it opens a few doors for people on the team to kind of prove and solidify their position on the roster, and maybe opens the door for us bringing in some other players because now we have a little bit of cap space to work with.
Definitely. The kind of fun news of the day, Devin Dubnyk. And if you know, you know. But he was on I think it was the Gregor show, or it might have been the
It was the DFO rundown.
Yeah. So he was posed the question. They worded it. It was a little bit clickbaity the way they worded it, because the actual question that he was asked is, who is the worst for zipping pucks by your ears? So that's what led him to calling Yakupov a complete idiot. I mean, I'm not shocked. I was actually shocked about how forward and quickly he responded. It was very, very interesting. But it's like there's nothing that pisses goalies off more than fucking hearing pucks zip past their ear in practice.
Well, the last thing they want is to get a puck to the mask and just rattle them during practice of all times, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's a no-no from frickin' Adam Hockey. But yeah.
Well, yeah, it was pretty funny because Dubnyk essentially said that he would whiz it by his head and always trying to snipe even when they're practicing low shots and things like that. And my favorite part was Gregor asked him, was did he ever get it through his head after you told him a few times, please stop, go to the other end of the rink and do it? And he's obviously not, since he's nowhere to be found anymore.
Yeah, that was such a harsh shot, but I love it when players can go out and completely sell out a former teammate and just be honest about shit.
Well, once you're retired, you don't really give a fuck.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't think there's any camaraderie or friendship between Yakupov and probably any of the Oilers at this point.
I was gonna say the stories about him are starting to pile up. Between that and the interview that he had with Brian Burke, it makes you wonder if the Oilers, well, obviously you're going to look back and know that they made the wrong choice, but
well, to be fair, their next closest choice was going to be Ryan Murray, and we have him now too, and we know that it's not really that much better.
Yeah.
In terms of quality of player, at least. Maybe quality of person, he's a much better person.
True. The other thing, Oilers game on Wednesday, I'm excited. It's going to be the debut of the reverse retros.
Ooh, we get the retros?
On Wednesday.
That's
That'll
exciting.
Be nice.
Who are we playing? The Kings?
I was just trying to figure that out. I don't know why I was thinking it was an Eastern team.
I believe it is the Kings. Yes, it is the Kings.
Oh, okay.
Does that mean the Kings are going to be wearing the purples?
Ooh.
I would hope for double reverse retros. That'd be exciting.
Theirs is a dark jersey, though, isn't it?
I don't think so. I think it's white, gold, and purple.
Oh, then yeah. Line it up.
Yeah,
some of them,
that's the case.
Some of them, on ice, have looked fantastic. Yeah. But
all in all, though, it's a pretty slow week with that game against LA on Wednesday at 8 p.m. and Saturday against the Kings at 8 p.m. That game's going to be fun. Sorry, Kings Knights is what I meant to say.
Oh, I was
Kings
hang
Knights.
on.
It's very confusing with all this medieval shit. I don't know why everybody has to name themselves after medieval things.
No kidding.
I'm surprised we don't have like the monarchs or anything like that. But
isn't that the King's farm team?
Probably something like that. I can't remember. But just 2 games this week. I'm thinking we'll probably record on Sunday. Game on Monday against New Jersey at 5. So probably do something like that. But we'll talk about that afterwards. But it's going to be a pretty slow week, and overall, I'm excited to have some time off.
I was just going to say, I'm looking forward to like just chilling out for a week.
Yeah, like it's been this past little road trip here. I think we've had 7 games in the past 13 days or something like that. So it adds up after a while. Like, I love hockey, don't get me wrong. But when every other night I'm committing to like watching it, I'm just like, fuck, here we go again. And it gets
well, I used
old.
to. Well, yeah, I used to. I would watch probably 85% of the games, but I never felt as guilty as I do now if I can't watch one.
Oh, if I don't watch a game now, I'm like, oh fuck, what am I gonna do for the podcast? But yeah, I think this part of the season too. You talked about it before we started, that this is kind of the lull of the season where like teams are still trying to get the swing of things. The beginning of the season hype is kind of worn off, and we're already into that like, let's see how things shake out for the next couple months to see where we're at in the standings. Where before there's like the feeling of playoff implications in games. Like, for example, on Wednesday we're playing the Kings. Yeah. The Kings are ahead of us in the standings. It's going to be a very important game. Divisional opponents. The Kings, we're going to be fighting with them for a playoff spot. But at this point of the season, we just don't really care. Yeah. Like, I'm excited for the Vegas game because I'd like to see how Edmonton can play against Vegas, because Vegas has been unreal this year.
Shocker. Yeah, to me.
I'm not shocked by it. Vegas has a really good team. I'm more shocked by their goalie being as good as he's been. But, like, having Jack Eichel as your top-line center and guys like Mark Stone and things, like, I'm not surprised they're doing as well as they are.
What did you see his celebration when he scored in Buffalo?
Oh, my God. I love that. That was funny. For anybody who doesn't know, Jack Eichel traded from the Buffalo Sabres back in Buffalo for the first or second time. I can't remember. But he scores a hat trick and just riles up the fans, just taunting them after every goal and just losing his fucking mind. Oh. I've never seen somebody celebrate so hard for an empty netter in my life.
I know. Yeah.
It was so good.
Like, I sound like I'm so old saying this, but like 10 years ago, you'd get your face bashed in for doing that.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
if I was a Buffalo player, like, I might have wanted to jump him in that moment.
Game's over. Like, it's scrapping time.
Yeah, exactly. But I digress. I'm getting a little off track with that.
Yeah. The other note you have here, McDavid and Draisaitl, there's a signing going on?
Yeah, they're doing autograph signings on Thursday at West Ed.
Just the two of them?
I'm sure there's maybe other people, but my buddy just texted me today. He's like, you going to the signing on Thursday? I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, McDavid, Draisaitl, they're signing jerseys.
What's your thoughts on that?
Well, if I were to guess, there's probably limitations on what they'll sign.
No.
If that's what you mean.
What's your thoughts on, like, I'm a little weirded out by going to get autographs from, like, people that are 2 years younger than me.
I mean, when it comes to hockey players, I'm not opposed to it.
No?
But I would be a little bit weirded out. Like, I think I was just looking at something the other day and saw somebody's age and like a hockey player, and they're 23, and I was like, fuck.
I know.
I was like, this guy's making millions of dollars, and here I am.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know. But yeah, I guess if you want to go get some autographs, that'd be a good place to go do it.
Yeah, if you got any kids who are interested,
yes.
I'm sure there's limitations on what they can sign, but I'm not entirely sure. I'll look it up right now, and we will find out. Because generally speaking, I believe the players are like contractually obligated to not sign things like jerseys.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be licensed. Like
NHL
and products.
If I'm not mistaken, the reason being that if they do that, it like lowers the value of all of their other signatures and stuff, and they just don't want the market to be flooded. Let's see, there's a limit to 1 autograph per person per player. No photo opportunities.
No photos.
Well, I'm not surprised by that.
Yeah.
If you're signing and taking photos on everything. I think there's actually several players who are going there. It's Nurse, Nuge, McDavid, and Draisaitl.
Oh, cool.
So the whole thing.
Yeah, that'll be good for
Jack Campbell. Let's go get Jack Campbell's signature. Maybe we can bring up his spirits.
Fuck. Oh yeah.
So
I just
You can have a personal item or team-issued card autographed by the Oilers players.
So there you go. That's the catch. That makes sense. I don't know. I feel for those guys having to sit there, and I know like a bulk of them are gonna get really good like interactions with fans. I think this is more for like a kids event. I have issues with like the autograph seekers to sell shit.
Well, yeah, if you're one of those guys who's got a little book, who's like, I just want autographs in my little book, then that's fine.
Yeah,
but it's a guy who would like. Obviously, they have to have a limit per person, per player, because I could see a guy coming with 10 McDavid jerseys and he's like, can you sign these 10 jerseys for me?
Right.
Like them out to eBay seller 128264.
Too funny.
And just one last note on that is the first 400 fans in line for each person get a signature. So they're only doing 400 per player.
Okay.
So
fair.
if you want McDavid and Draisaitl's, you're going to have to show up very early probably to get their signature.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to enjoy my Thursday at home, but...
Yeah, I don't really plan on going. Like, I don't have anything that probably needs signed at the moment.
Yeah.
But all in all, I think it'll be pretty exciting. I know my friend suggested that we go set up a table next to their stand and try to sell merch to people in line.
Oh my God, yeah.
So if anybody's interested in that, let us know.
Well, I think that pretty much does it. I'm going to enjoy this little kind of break that we get here, and we'll chat in a week.
Sounds good to me.